So, now it's interesting. I'm still having my little rant, and it is Easter Sunday, 2025. So, Jehovah's Witnesses, the reality of JW mind control. Why the witnesses bear the unbearable. So there it is. And at the conclusion, it's about something about following the money, according to the video caption. Now, lots and lots of YouTubers, they call themselves exjws. At least you know they're exjw, so that's a bit of good news, because then you can kind of avoid the channel. Not all of them make that claim. They try to be deceitful, but so the mind control is unbearable. Well, it appears to be unbearable by these ex-witnesses who've kind of been thrown out. Maybe they had an affair with someone, or they liked marriage, sex outside marriage. Maybe, I don't know. Their lifestyle, obviously, their families didn't approve. They went off, or they took drugs, or whatever they wanted to do, and their families weren't very favourably disposed. Because they're under JW mind control. A lot of people in society have got parents, and they have their ideas of what the children they'd like them to do. And if you decide to be, I don't know, an artist or a musician, parents usually are not very happy with their children going for an unsafe occupation. In other words, you become a banker, or you go into some kind of management, then there's a real chance of having a stable financial life. And parents want to see their children do well in human society that we have today. So when their children go off on a tangent and don't follow what they were hoping they would do, or they marry or go out with the wrong person, then there's friction. Sometimes there's what people claim towards Jehovah's Witnesses, they've shunned them. Sometimes they break up and there's no communication, or the children say, you accept the person I've chosen, even if they are smoking pot. I expect you to, and then they go, and they've got the ump, and they may not speak for years, 20 years, 30 years. Sometimes they never speak again. So this is happening in families up and down the country and throughout the world. This friction. When it happens with Jehovah's Witnesses, apparently it's something to do with the organisation of the religion's mind control. I had someone write a comment to me. They wouldn't let me go to university. I thought, well, hang on a minute, how old are you? If you were 18, then you can vote. No one tells you who you can vote for. You could... if you're living under your parents' household, you've got to go along with them, really. If they want to set rules, they can. But if you move on, then they can't tell you what to do, can they? So why don't you grow up? Most of us, when we leave home, there's a load of things we don't do that our parents would have liked us to have done, and we're a disappointment. But we stand on our own 2 feet, and sometimes the consequences are bad. Our life is a bit of a disaster for a while. You have to take control. You can't say, they wouldn't let me do it. I thought, grow up. If you want to go to university, do it. I was in a congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was 19. And there was a brother there. He went off to university, and he became an architect. Now, half the other witnesses were window cleaners, or, they did jobs that... they did the jobs that, menial type jobs, gardeners and that sort of stuff. It's a choice. He actually advanced quicker in the organisation of Jehovah's Witnesses. He was given public talks and other things to do quicker than other people. So the Jehovah's Witness organisation isn't forcing you to do anything. Your parents... may try and pressurise you to follow a certain course. But if you're growing up and you're an adult, grow up. Do what you want to do. the mind control argument. And with regards to Jehovah's Witnesses, they're gaslighting that. Well, when you think about it, who has control of people's minds today? Every single religion and organisation will influence its members. Even if you belong to a golf club, they influence you. They basically give you rules. And if you don't want to follow them, you can be asked to leave. So it's a choice. We have choices we make. Jehovah's Witnesses, it's called gaslighting. They are gaslighting, but we're gaslighted every day. Look at the bias there is in Russia. The Russian people think President Putin is a hero. According to their news, he's voted in with a higher percentage than anybody else. Oh, that's propaganda. Yes, they're being under mind control. And the people in Britain, they're in mind control because, look, Britain and Europe want to keep on the war because then media tells them and the people go along with it. If I'm in a supermarket queue and I start getting chatting, I said, if Putin was a friend, he'd be my best friend. People look at me in horror. Now, obviously, this is my sense of humour, but it's amazing how biased people are because they've been influenced. And the same applied with the COVID. We were all under propaganda there. We were terrified that we'd all die unless we put our face masks on and, locked ourselves in for a year or more. We were brainwashed. Now, there's a scripture in the Bible. It says here, this is the NIV, so I'm not using the awful Jehovah's Witness Bible. This one says that Satan has blinded the minds of the unbelievers, so the glorious good news about the Christ might not shine through. Now, if Satan is misleading the minds of people, he has mind control. So we're all influenced by mind control. If you go to the shops and you think, I think I'll buy those beans, or that vacuum was very nice, but you've seen it on an advert, haven't you? I bought something the other week. I bought a shaver and it was on a YouTube. These YouTubers, they want to make money out of their YouTube videos. So they monetize them, don't they? And then you get all these adverts come up and you have to skip it. Just try and carry on watching. One came up with a shaver and it went zip, 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 look, marvellous, look, shum. And I thought, wow, that's fantastic. So I went out, clicked on it, spent the money, 40 quid or something. Oh, that's not bad. Straight from China, a piece of junk. But I was influenced. We get influenced every day. And Jesus said that Satan had no control over him because he wouldn't go along with human society. That's why he died. That's why we are remembering Jesus' death, because he wouldn't fit in with the cultural leaders of the Jews and the religious leaders who had a huge sway. They didn't like Jesus. He didn't fit in with them. And so they orchestrated his death. They created a mob so that he would, we want Barabbas. Kill Jesus Christ. So Pontius Pilate, who felt that Jesus was innocent, felt, oh, if I keep the peace, I'll let them have their way then. And so he put on the when Jesus died, he put on it, didn't he? He said, the King of the Jews. They said, no, don't put that on there. He says he's the King of the Jews. No, what I've put is what I've put. They weren't happy with that because they said, let his blood be upon us and our children. In other words, they were saying that if he really was the Son of God and they'd killed him, then they were saying, well, God, smite us down, destroy our nation. And of course that happened 37 years later. Jesus, though, was raised from the dead, wasn't he? On this calendar, they say it's tomorrow, Easter Monday, raised from the dead. That's a marvellous event. Anyway, so mind control. Sorry. And you insult me. You insult my fellow Jehovah's Witness brethren You're saying we're mindless autonomans. We've been brainwashed. Most of us, though we're not getting younger in years, so most of us have been Jehovah's Witnesses for 20, 30 or 40 years. You're saying we're thick. You're saying, because when you meet us and you speak to us, we know what we're talking about. We know about world events. We know the scriptures. We know what Jesus promises. We are clear in our mind of what's happening. We know the future because Jesus tells us. How many people do you meet in the churches who have this knowledge? Because we have the same kind of knowledge that Jesus gave his apostles. We're not trapped in the system. We're not tricked by it too much. Yes, we're tricked by it. I was when I bought a shaver. I'm sure the Chinese are laughing and they said, you can send it back. You can't. I can't send my shaver back. They won't send me and they won't respond to my emails because I've asked for a refund. They won't even communicate. They've tricked me. So they've defrauded me, the Chinese. So, mind control. Yes, there's plenty of mind control, but it's in other religions and it's in the society around us. Jehovah's Witnesses are clear-minded. We know what's happening. Now, the other part of the video is follow the money, making out that Jehovah's Witnesses just after the money. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, you have these people. They do self-build houses. They don't want to pay all the money. They want to get it done, get lots of volunteers, and do it for the cheapest price they can. Very sensible if you get the people together, especially to donate their time. And so that's the subject of the next video that I'm releasing is, volunteers helping cut the costs of work so that the money can go as far as possible. Very clever. So, thank you. Lots of people say silly things about that as well about us. So that's in the next video. Recruited for Jehovah, used for profit. Thank you very much. Take care. It's Easter Sunday, so you've got the resurrection of Jesus tomorrow, according to the Christian calendar that the churches basically follow. So good time to remember Jesus and what that he gave his life to save humanity. If you're confused about what that means, then either ask your pastor, and if he doesn't satisfy your answers, well, why don't you ask Jehovah's Witnesses? They'll be very clear and distinct about what it means and how you can benefit and get everlasting life, because he did promise it. He said, I will give you everlasting life, which means not getting sick, not getting old, and not dying. How marvellous. Thank you very much. Take care. May God bless you all. During this holiday season as well.